Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. It is March 19th, 2020. So if you're listening to this podcast well after this time frame has gone by, I wanted to preference it because right now we are in the middle of the coronavirus and everybody is kind of quarantined in their homes, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of people that are really scared about what's going on. But I wanted to address a few things and talk to you about some of the things that have helped me and other people. And so that's what this podcast is going to be about, which is antiviral cultured foods. I want to give you some hope and some help to help you understand what you can do during this time of fear that is happening during this time in our history. And so this might really be a time to really address the fact that there are things you can do to prevent and help yourself when you get sick. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. So there's lots of fear flying around, and I can help you understand what's happening and how your body works to help you when you get the flu, and what you can do to protect yourself from getting it. And perhaps it'll make you feel more confident about your body's ability to heal you. But before we get to that, I want to tell you a story. At the end of December 2019, it was at the very end of the calendar year, my husband and I went on vacation, and we were supposed to be at the Cayman Islands. And when we got to the airport, they informed me that my passport needed 6 months before the expiration date, and it only had a couple months on it. And we couldn't go, so I was just devastated. I was really upset, and the airport stewards were very kind and compassionate to me. And long story short, before we knew it, we were headed to Hawaii with super cheap flights and switched hotel reservations, and it was really exciting for me because I had never been to Hawaii. We had a wonderful time, but the day that we got back, both my husband and I came down with a fever and a cough, and I felt so horrible that I couldn't even get out of bed. I felt really, really bad. I had a pretty high fever. Now, my husband, Ron, immediately went to the kitchen and took an entire cup of cultured vegetables, and he kept doing it for the next 3 days, but I didn't know that he was doing that. But I didn't do that. I stayed in bed. I barely ate or drank. I was so tired. I was sleeping. And Ron was over in a few days, but I continued with a fever that just wouldn't quit. My respiratory symptoms got better, but I couldn't get this fever to go away. So my husband proudly announced to me that he had eaten so many cultured vegetables and suggested that I do the same. I sheepishly dragged myself into the kitchen and started drinking the juice from cultured vegetables. And I had that crazy fever, and it didn't stop till I took that cultured veggie juice several times a day. And the first day that I did that, the very next day, the fever broke. And I teach everybody how powerful these foods are. And I myself did not take my own advice. I was so shocked that I was sick that I could barely function. My husband will never, ever let me live this down. But it was a powerful lesson for me. Kind of when you're sick in bed and you don't want to eat or drink, it was just the last thing I wanted to do. And honestly, the juice is so easy to consume. I tell everybody to do this, and for some reason, I didn't do it. But while we were on vacation, we didn't have any cultured foods for over a week. My husband forgot to put the kefir package in the jar that we bought, so I didn't have any kefir. I was super sleep deprived. I was very stressed out because of all the changes in our plans. And sometimes, you guys, I really think that we go through things to help other people. And in this case, it gave me enormous compassion for people who are struggling with the flu. I just don't really get the flu. So I don't know what kind of flu I had. I don't know if I had the coronavirus. I don't know what it was. But whatever it was a doozy. But it gave me a lot of compassion. It gave me a lot of understanding. And maybe I got it to help you understand what I now know about how antiviral these types of cultured foods can be, and all the research I have on this. When I was sick, I called my brother-in-law, who is a physician, and he told, I told him how sick I was, and he said, well, Donna, without seeing you or putting my stethoscope on you, I would say that you have a virus. And if your cough gets worse, go see a doctor. And then he said to me, I wish I could cure the flu. I'd be famous for sure. But he said to me something that was really interesting. He said, I'm very interested as to why Ron got over it so fast and you didn't. So, I actually did make an appointment to go see my doctor. But when I got there, I was all better. She listened to my lungs and said, they sound perfect. So, everything's fine here, because a lot of these flus can go into pneumonia. But I was fine. I was over it by that time. But the gratefulness that I felt for the jar of cultured veggies fermenting on my counter, that really has unrivaled any medicine that I could have ever taken. Those crazy vegetables and their juice had made me well, and I knew it. And I was really, really grateful. I know they were antiviral many years ago, but now there is even more research that's pointing to how effective they are. And I want to share that with you in case, you need this information. It will really help you. There's one special probiotic in these cultured vegetables called Lactobacillus plantarum. And I want to share just how powerful they are. But first, I want to explain to you just how your body fights invaders like a virus. So, your trillions of good bacteria that compose your body spend their days destroying some of their harmful cousins that are bad bacteria. They also pick through undigested foods and micromanage calories. They make some vitamins and essential nutrients for you, but that is not all that they do. Good bacteria acts as microscopic bouncers for the bowels, letting in desirable nutrients and slamming the door on dangerous viruses and killer bugs. Without bacteria, you couldn't even digest your food. But digestion is only part of what these, high achievers accomplish. They also power 60 to 70% of the body's immune system. And the bottom line is that we would be dead without bacteria and their special abilities to keep us healthy every day. So, what exactly is going on inside of you that can determine whether or not you get the flu? So your body is designed to fight pathogens and viruses. And a virus is, it's wandering around looking for a human host to infect. And when it finds one, your body has special helpers designed to seek and destroy this invader. So white blood cells destroy germs as soon as they detect them. However, if a viral infection begins to take hold, they fight back using a powerful defense with T and B cells. Antibodies are special proteins made by B cells. They bind to a virus to stop it from replicating, and they also label viruses so that other blood cells know to destroy them. T cells have different roles to play. Some act as a warning bell that raises the alarm when they detect that invading virus. But here's where your microbes come in. There are certain good bacteria in the gut that influence the strength of the immune system by increasing the number of T cells. And there are two kinds of T cells, killer cells and helpers. Killer T cells find and destroy that infected cell that has been turned into a virus-making community. Helper T cells don't fight invaders. Instead, they're like a military intelligence system. When a helper T cell sends out a chemical message, its matched T cell is alerted that a virus is present and seeks to destroy it. So here's the deal. Having lots of good bacteria in the gut increases T cell production and keeps communication among all of the cells functioning at a really high optimal level. Signals from those beneficial microbes are essential for keeping your immune system really strong so it can seek and destroy a virus or an infection. So many people have been on antibiotics, which kill the good and the bad bacteria, and then they never build up that community of good bacteria in their body to fight these types of pathogens. So consuming cultured foods gives you, it gives your body tons of strong microbes in an easy and delicious way. And here's the deal. Some of these good bacteria that are in cultured foods are what they call temporary residents. So they don't last long in the body. And so you need to consume them often. Some of them stay permanently, but there's a lot of them, like the ones that are in cultured vegetables, like Lactobacillus plantarum, is because it doesn't last very long in the body. So it will, if you consume cultured foods and these probiotic foods, it will give you confidence in your body, and it really helps you to feel like your body can do what it needs to do. So while the rest of the world is really worrying about the fridge, if you go to your fridge and fortify yourself with these types of foods, and guys, these can last like 9 months in your fridge. And all it is cultured vegetables. They're just vegetables that are chopped up in a jar, put in a jar, add a culture and salt, and let them ferment. And they last a very long time. So, and if you do get sick, you can use them the same way like I did to help you get over it. And very quickly. And I have a lot of research that supports this. And I lived through this in December. And if you do get sick and then you get over it, remember, you've entered that wellness zone. And remember that you're a miraculous creation that has everything you need to keep you healthy and avoid disease. And you can share this with other people too that will help them to start to know that they have food like medicine in their fridge that can help keep them well. So, let me tell you why these types of foods can be so antiviral. And I have all the research for this too. If you want to go to the article on my website, I have the research at the bottom of the website. We'll link that description for you so you can go and check out all the references that I have on there. But, okay, back when the bird flu was going around, researchers found that kimchi, the spicy fermented cabbage, was very effective in preventing and killing the influenza virus. And this is what researchers from the Korean Food Research Institute and the World Institute of Kimchi had to say about cultured vegetables. Lactic acid bacteria and fermentation metabolites in kimchi inhibit the growth of the influenza virus by the special bacteria, which is produced in large quantities during the fermentation of kimchi. Its sub-ingredients, such as things like green onion and ginger, are thought to hinder the growth of influenza viruses. But we've concluded that the bioactive compounds from the lactic acid bacteria produced by the kimchi fermentation serves as antiviral agents. Our study is the world's first that scientifically verifies kimchi's effectiveness against the influenza viruses such as swine flu, the avian influenza virus flus, and in 2013, the SARS, or severe acute respiratory syndrome virus, was in many parts of the world, including Hong Kong and mainland China, but it wasn't in Korea. There were very few people infected with this virus, and researchers have argued that kimchi had a very antiviral effect on them. So the results of this study was published in the February 2018 issue of the Journal of Microbiology. Now, here's the other virus that was tested. H1n1 virus is a very common virus that people get. And a publication in the Bangladesh Journal of Pharmacology stated, the probiotic strains of lactic acid bacteria have earned the status of being efficient, economical, and safe nutraceuticals in the healthcare armamentarium. A total of 2,272 lab strains were tested against H1n1 virus. Lactobacillus plantarum showed a pronounced antiviral activity against this virus. The anti-H1n1 activity of the strain was confirmed by hemagglutination assay. This type of antibodies that are in this type of thing show that the influenza virus will prevent attachment from the virus to red blood cells. They even found it was pronounced efficient in comparison to the commercially available antiviral drug. So there's a lot of research on this particular one, on the H1N1, which is a very common virus that we often get infected with, but it very well worked very well against this type of virus. And if you want that research, go to my article and you'll see all that research in the link below. The description, go to the link below and then you'll see the research on my page at culturedfoodlife.com. Okay, stomach ailments. Cultured vegetables are extremely effective in dealing with any kind of stomach ailments. And the stories I have witnessed are nothing short of miraculous. And there's also research to support this. You know, on several occasions, I have used cultured vegetables in a juice to get rid of food poisoning, a nasty stomach virus, and it was really like injecting some kind of magic tonic that works so quickly, it shocks me. You know, whenever my children came down with any kind of stomach type of ailment, I gave them small sips of juice from cultured veggies and watched, you know, as like vomiting and diarrhea and stomach cramps will subsided. It's really quite miraculous. I've personally seen it knock out food poisoning within a few hours. And this special bacteria that's in cultured veggies binds to the mucosal lining of the gut, preventing the adhesion and translocation of pathogens. And it's really cool how it works because it steals the nutrients that pathogens need to survive. And then the pathogens then die and pass out of the body. This reduced, pathogen growth that can also lead to reducing any circulating endotoxins. And having too many endotoxins can cause the immune system to weaken, which can cause infections and inflammation. So you want those to exit the body. And that's one of the wonderful things that cultured veggies do. They help to remove them and exit the body, through the bowels and through the kidneys. And it's really a wonderful thing. It's probably the one thing that I get the most emails about is how much these types of vegetables have helped people with all kinds of ailments that otherwise they couldn't have overcome, because there's really not much on the market for things like, stomach problems, things that affect that are, you kind of get some kind of virus or something that just keeps inflaming you. And these work so quickly. I don't know of anything else that works so well to stop it. And I get a lot of emails about that. A lot of people post on my Facebook page about how effective they were. And it's wonderful to see that, because then they tell their friends, and then other people tell their friends. And it's wonderful because it works and it's just food. So I have a really great recipe for this. It's called Jicama. If you're Jicama, if you want to check that out, I have video on it. It's one of my favorite recipes for this. And it works really, really well. You can use any cultured vegetable to do this. They're all going to really work well. But this one in particular has a really good taste, and it's easy to make. And I guarantee if you keep it in your refrigerator, it can last like 9 months in your refrigerator, and then you have it in case you need it. It works really, really well. So all cultured foods, kefir kombucha, cultured vegetables, water kefir, sourdough, have all guided me to living a much healthier life. And they gently pointed the way for me as I followed those little breadcrumbs that were left for me. I've done a lot of research in the last 19 years, eating these foods, making these foods, loving these foods. And they have really continued to help me in times of need, build up my immune system, help me to overcome ailments that I get. And I reach for them and again. Like many people would reach for medicine, I reach for these foods because they work. They actually do for me things that, I can't even do for myself. So I have lots of recipes and instructions to help you make the best cultured veggies. But don't forget about kefir kombucha and water kefir too. You really only need like a spoonful to really help you. And you don't need to be afraid of the flu. Your body is really designed to heal you. So even if you do get the flu, you have tools to help you get through it. And that's what I did. And that's what I hope I can help you do too. So if you go to the link in the description below, I have how to make all of these foods on there, but I also have 18 cultured veggie recipes that are antiviral that have that special bacteria in them that researchers say, is very helpful to the body. And that's what cultured vegetables are mostly made with, is those lactic acid bacterias, and that special one, Lactobacillus plantarum, that really work well to help strengthen your immune system and to get rid of pathogens. So check them out. I hope that helps you. I hope you'll learn to make them. Just pick any one that appeals to you. All of them work. You just need a spoonful of the juice. You don't need very much. You don't have to eat the vegetables. You can just take the juice, which sometimes you don't feel like eating, which I know what that was like. I didn't want to eat anything. And it works so effectively for me and so many other people and for my family. And right now, let's see, I've got 7 or 8 jars of cultured veggies in my fridge. They last a really long time, and they're just vegetables, guys. I have some spicy kimchi in there. I have jicama if you're Jicama. I have flu prevention cultured vegetables. I have a great recipe for that if you're interested, because they have a lot of prebiotics in that vegetable, in that particular vegetable ferment, that really makes the good bacteria grow and multiply like crazy, because there's extra stuff in that particular one that really helps, to really give you more bang for your buck. I have so many different kinds. So you can pick one. A lot of cabbage ones, but there's a lot of ones that aren't cabbage that I think you would really like. So just pick one if you want. I think there's 18 on there. And I also show you how to make kefir kombucha, cultured vegetables, or you can buy them too. It's much more effective if you make them at home. especially kefir and veggies. They're going to be stronger. They're going to have more probiotics for you. But this is my contribution to people that are really struggling and worried and got time on their hands. So making cultured vegetables, guys, is so easy. You just chop up vegetables, put them in a jar, cover them with water, put a culture in. Make sure you put some salt in because salt keeps it crunchy and helps the pH to drop. And let them ferment for a few days. Some of them only take 2 to 3 days. Some of them take 6 days, but whatever. Then they last like 9 months in your fridge. And then you'll have them when you need them. So if you've got some times on your hands, I highly recommend you make some. And you'll have food like medicine in your fridge. So I hope that helps you. I hope that if it works for you, that you'll tell other people so that we can all help one another to find things and remedies that can help keep us healthy, keep us happy, and help us when we're scared of things like pathogens that can invade our bodies. So have a good week, and we will see you next week. As always, thanks for listening, guys. And I hope that this will help you. I hope it will keep you healthy. And I hope it will give you some hope and some encouragement. Your body does know how to heal you. It's designed to do that, but you got to give it what it needs to stay well. So we'll see you next time. Thanks again for listening. I appreciate you. And I hope that we get through this together. Bye.